During our anniversary dinner, my husband's phone buzzed with a text that read, "Did you get rid of her body yet?" The message notification flashed across his screen for exactly 3.7 seconds before he snatched the phone from the table and turned it face down. In those fleeting moments, my world stopped spinning. We were celebrating 5 years of marriage at Bellini's, the same upscale Italian restaurant where Andrew had proposed. The candlelight caught the panic in his eyes as he registered what I had just seen. "Work stuff," he muttered, shoving the phone into his jacket pocket. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for his wine glass. A $175 Barolo that suddenly tasted like vinegar in my mouth. I forced a smile that felt like broken glass on my face. On our anniversary? That's dedication. I was amazed at how normal my voice sounded when my heart was hammering against my ribs like it wanted to escape. Andrew's laugh came out strangled. "You know how it is at the firm. Wilson's case is complicated." He worked as a defense attorney at Parkman & Associates, often handling high-profile criminal cases. I'd grown accustomed to late nights and cryptic phone calls, but this was different. This wasn't legal jargon. "A body, Andrew?" I kept my tone light, almost teasing, while studying his face with the intensity of a forensic examiner. A bead of sweat formed at his temple despite the restaurant's aggressive air conditioning set at 65 degrees. "Just lawyer humor," he said, signaling for the waiter. "Let's order dessert. They have that chocolate thing you love." I'd known Andrew for 7 years, been married to him for 5, and I knew every micro-expression that crossed his face. The slight twitch at the corner of his left eye, the way he rubbed his thumb against his index finger when he lied. Both tells were on full display now as he studied the dessert menu with unnatural focus. "I'm actually not feeling well," I said, pressing my napkin to my lips. "Could we get the check and head home?" Relief flooded his features. "Of course, sweetheart. Whatever you need." The 22-minute drive home was filled with his nervous chatter about office politics and plans for our weekend getaway to Lake Geneva, a surprise he'd arranged for our anniversary. I nodded at appropriate intervals while my mind raced through the past few months, searching for clues I might have missed. Andrew's overnight business trips had increased from once a month to weekly occurrences. There was the mud I'd found on his dress shoes 3 weeks ago when he claimed to be at a conference center all day. The mysterious scratches on his forearm that he attributed to our neighbor's cat, a cat I knew to be declawed. The strange smell in his car that lingered despite professional detailing. Each oddity had seemed innocent in isolation. Together, they formed a horrifying mosaic. When we arrived home, Andrew insisted on running me a bath. "You relax," he said, pressing a gentle kiss to my forehead. "I'll take care of everything." I soaked in the tub for exactly 27 minutes, listening to him move around downstairs. Drawers opening and closing, the back door squeaking on its hinges, his hushed voice on the phone. When the water turned cold, I stepped out and wrapped myself in a plush robe, moving silently across the bathroom tile. Instead of heading to our bedroom, I crept down the hall to Andrew's home office. The room was immaculate as always. Andrew was fastidious about his workspace. Nothing seemed out of place, but something felt wrong. The air smelled faintly of bleach beneath his usual sandalwood cologne. I sat at his desk and wiggled the mouse. The computer screen lit up, requesting a password. After 2 failed attempts, I tried our anniversary date followed by my birth year. The desktop appeared. My hands were ice cold as I navigated to his browser history. It had been cleared, unusual for someone who never bothered with such digital housekeeping. Next, I checked his email. Nothing suspicious in the inbox, but the trash folder contained dozens of deleted messages from someone named SM, with subject lines like "location confirmed" and "equipment list." Most had been emptied from the trash, leaving only shadows in the folder count. I was about to give up when I noticed a folder labeled "Insurance" that hadn't been there when I'd helped him organize his files last month. Inside were photographs, dozens of them, of a woman I didn't recognize. She had auburn hair and was photographed entering an apartment building, shopping at a grocery store, jogging in the park. In some images, she was with a man who looked vaguely familiar, though I couldn't place him. The final photo made my blood freeze. The woman lay on what appeared to be a concrete floor, her auburn hair matted with something dark, her eyes open but unseeing. The timestamp showed it was taken 3 days ago at 2:17 a.m. I heard Andrew's footsteps on the stairs and quickly closed everything, returning the computer to its sleep state. My hands were shaking so badly I had to grip the desk edge to steady myself. "There you are," he said from the doorway, his voice warm with affection. "Feeling better?" I turned to face my husband of 5 years, the man who slept beside me every night, whose children I had planned to bear, whose secrets now terrified me. "Much better," I lied, mirroring his smile. just checking my email before bed. That night, I lay awake beside him, listening to his steady breathing. The man I married was either a killer or involved with one. The knowledge sat like ice in my chest. At 3:14 a.m., I carefully slid out of bed and retrieved my phone from the nightstand. In the bathroom, with the shower running to mask any sound, I called the only person I knew who could help. Detective Isabella Martinez had been my college roommate before joining the police force. Now she worked homicide and had resources I desperately needed. "It's late, Ellie," she answered, her voice thick with sleep. "Someone better be dead." The irony wasn't lost on me. "I need your help, Iz. No questions asked. At least not yet." She was instantly alert. "What's going on?" "I need you to run a search for any women reported missing in the last week. Auburn hair, approximately 30 years old." "Ellie, what the hell?" "Please, Iz. I can't explain right now, but it's important. Life or death important." The silence stretched for 12 seconds before she sighed. "Give me an hour." I returned to bed, lying motionless beside the stranger I had married. When my phone vibrated at 4:26 a.m., I slipped away again to read Isabella's message. "Sofia Mendez, 32, reported missing by her husband 4 days ago. Last seen leaving her job at Parkman & Associates. Sending you her photo." "Ellie, what's going on?" The photo showed the same woman from Andrew's hidden folder. Sofia Mendez worked at my husband's law firm. The man in the photos with her was likely her husband, the familiar face I couldn't place. My mind raced through possibilities. Maybe Andrew was investigating something for the firm. Maybe the text about a body was indeed some dark lawyer humor. Maybe there was an innocent explanation for everything. The next text from Isabella shattered those hopes. "Her husband, David Mendez, is represented by your husband in divorce proceedings. Allegations of domestic violence. Court records show Andrew got a restraining order against David 3 weeks ago on Sofia's behalf." The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Andrew wasn't the killer. He was helping Sofia escape her abusive husband by faking her death. The body in the text wasn't Sofia's. It was a staged scene to convince David she was dead, probably using evidence they'd fabricated together. Relief washed over me, followed immediately by fresh horror. If Andrew was helping Sofia disappear, then the final photo in that folder, the one of her seemingly dead on a concrete floor, was staged. But who took it? Who sent the text asking if he'd disposed of her body? And why was Andrew keeping evidence on his personal computer when discovery could put both him and Sofia in danger? At 6:30 a.m., I heard Andrew's alarm. When he headed for the shower, I slipped back into his office and reopened the insurance folder. Looking more carefully at the metadata, I noticed something I'd missed in my panic. All the surveillance photos of Sofia had been taken by the same camera, a Canon EOS with a serial number that matched the one Andrew had given me for Christmas last year. The staged death photo wasn't taken by Andrew's camera. According to the metadata, it came from a smartphone, specifically a Pixel 6 Pro. David Mendez's phone, according to his social media profiles. My stomach lurched as realization dawned. The text wasn't sent to Andrew by an accomplice helping Sofia escape. It was from David, who had somehow discovered their plan and turned it against them. The photo wasn't staged. It was real. Sofia was dead, and David was forcing Andrew to help cover it up. I checked the sent items folder in Andrew's email and found what I was looking for. A message to a burner account containing GPS coordinates for a location in the state forest, 46 miles outside the city. The message was sent at 11:42 p.m. last night, while I was in the bath. With shaking hands, I forwarded everything to Isabella, including my analysis. I added, "David killed Sofia and is blackmailing Andrew into helping dispose of the body. Andrew's involved, but not the killer. Coordinates attached. Send help." The bathroom door opened down the hall. I closed everything and slipped out of the office just as Andrew emerged in a cloud of steam, a towel wrapped around his waist. "You're up early," he said, kissing my cheek. "Feeling better?" "Much," I replied, forcing myself to sound normal. "I thought I'd make us breakfast." "Anniversary pancakes." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "That sounds perfect. I need to run a quick errand first, though. Work emergency." "On a Saturday? Can it wait?" "I wish it could." He dressed quickly, choosing casual clothes instead of his usual weekend attire. Jeans, dark hoodie, boots. Clothes that wouldn't show dirt or other stains. I followed him downstairs, my mind racing. Isabella would need time to mobilize police to the coordinates. I had to delay him somehow. "I made coffee," I said, handing him a mug as he grabbed his keys from the hook by the door. "Thanks, but I'll grab some on the way." He leaned in to kiss me goodbye. but I deliberately stumbled, spilling coffee down the front of his hoodie. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," I exclaimed, grabbing a dish towel. "Let me help clean that up." "It's fine," he said, but I could see the tension in his jaw. "I have other hoodies." "No, this one's already wet. Let me throw it in the wash and grab you the blue one you love. It'll just take a minute." While he waited impatiently by the door, I pretended to load the washing machine but instead took photos of the coffee-stained hoodie and texted them to Isabella, evidence connecting him to whatever they might find in the forest. When I returned with the clean hoodie, Andrew was checking his watch. "I really need to go, Ellie." "What's the rush? Is everything okay?" His expression softened slightly. "Everything's fine. It's just complicated legal stuff." "Like getting rid of a body?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. Andrew froze, his face draining of color. "What did you say?" "The text, Andrew. Last night at dinner. Did you get rid of her body yet?" For a moment, he looked like he might deny it. Then his shoulders sagged. "It's not what you think." "Then explain it to me. Who is Sofia Mendez?" His eyes widened in shock. "How do you... Is she dead? Did David kill her?" Andrew sank onto the bench by our front door, his head in his hands. "I was trying to help her escape. David was going to kill her. He'd threatened it enough times. We staged photos, created a new identity for her. She was supposed to disappear while he was at a conference." "But something went wrong," I prompted gently. "David came home early, found her packing. I don't know exactly what happened next, but he sent me that photo." His voice broke. "He said if I didn't help him hide what he'd done, he'd frame me for it. Said he had evidence that I'd been planning her disappearance. That it would look like I killed her when the affair went wrong." "Affair? Were you and Sophia..." Andrew looked up, his eyes desperate. "No, God no. But David's convinced we were. That's why he killed her. And now he's using it against me." My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Isabella. "Team's en route to coordinates. ETA 12 minutes. Stall him." "You can't go, Andrew. The police are already on their way to the forest." The color drained from his face. "What have you done?" "Saved you from becoming an accessory to murder." I reached for his hand. "Andrew, this isn't you. You help victims. You don't cover up crimes. You don't understand. David has evidence, fabricated but convincing. Text messages, hotel receipts. He's thought of everything. And you have me," I said firmly. "I'll testify that you were with me all night. We'll fight this together." Andrew's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at me with panic in his eyes. "It's David. He's at the location now. If I don't show up, the police will be there any minute. It's over, Andrew." He seemed to collapse in on himself, years of stress suddenly visible on his face. "I was trying to save her, Ellie. I couldn't even do that right." We sat in silence for 8 excruciating minutes before my phone rang. Isabella's voice was tense. "We got him, Ellie. David Mendez is in custody. The victim's body was found at the coordinates you sent." After she hung up, I turned to Andrew. "It's done. David's been arrested." Relief washed over his features, followed quickly by dread. "I'm still implicated. The texts, the photos on my computer. We'll figure it out," I promised, though I wasn't entirely sure how. "Isabella knows you were trying to help Sophia escape an abusive situation. That counts for something." The legal battle that followed lasted 14 months. Andrew faced charges of conspiracy and evidence tampering, but avoided the murder charges David tried to pin on him. My testimony about the text message at our anniversary dinner, the moment that sparked my investigation, proved crucial in establishing the timeline. David Mendez was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. Andrew served 6 months in a minimum security facility for his role in the attempted disappearance scheme and evidence tampering. When he came home, we moved to a different state and started over. Our marriage survived, but not without scars. Trust, once broken, never heals completely. Sometimes at night, I still find myself checking his phone when he's asleep, searching for secrets. Sometimes I catch him watching me with guilt in his eyes, wondering if I'll ever fully forgive him. On our 7th anniversary, we returned to a restaurant, not Bellini's, never there again. And when his phone buzzes during dinner, we both freeze. He turns it over immediately, displaying the screen to me without being asked. It's just a calendar reminder. Anniversary, 7 years. Don't forget flowers. We laugh, but it's hollow. Some texts you can never unsee. Some dinners change everything. Some anniversaries mark not just the years you've been together, but the moment when you realized you never really knew the person across the table at all. But the story doesn't end there. Our fresh start in Colorado was supposed to be a clean slate, but the weight of Andrew's past followed us like a shadow. At night, I'd wake to find him staring at the ceiling, muttering Sophia's name in his sleep. The guilt of failing to save her consumed him more than the fear of legal consequences ever had. 3 months after our move, a package arrived at our new address. No return label, just a postmark from Chicago. Inside was a thumb drive and a handwritten note that read, "For Andrew's wife, the truth." My hands trembled as I plugged it into my laptop, expecting more evidence of horrors. Instead, I found a video file dated the day before Sophia supposedly died. In it, she stared directly into the camera, her auburn hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, very much alive. "If you're watching this, my plan worked," she began. "I need to disappear, and the only way David will ever stop looking for me is if he believes I'm dead. Andrew has helped me create a new identity, but I've kept him in the dark about the final stage. He thinks we're just staging photos, but I'm going further." She explained her plan to use a cadaver from the medical school where her friend worked, a Jane Doe with similar features who had donated her body to science. The body David found wasn't mine. The blood was, though. I've been banking it for months. I'm sorry for what this might do to Andrew, but I had no choice. He would never have agreed to this part. I sat in stunned silence as the video ended with Sophia holding up a passport with a different name and her photo. "I'm already gone," she said. "Tell Andrew I'm sorry, and thank you." When Andrew came home that evening, I showed him the video without a word. He collapsed into a chair, watching it 3 times before he could speak. "She's alive," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. "All this time." "You didn't fail her," I said, holding his hand. "She fooled everyone. You, David, the police. Even the medical examiner was convinced it was her body." The revelation changed everything and nothing. Andrew had still broken the law trying to help Sophia escape. David was still in prison for attempting to murder his wife, even though the body wasn't hers. And somewhere, Sophia was living a new life. Having orchestrated one of the most elaborate disappearances I'd ever heard of, we decided to go to the authorities with the new evidence. Isabella argued against it, warning that it could reopen Andrew's case and potentially lead to more serious charges now that intent was clearly established. But Andrew couldn't live with the deception anymore. "I need to clear my conscience, even if it means more time," he insisted. The legal system ground slowly into motion again. Forensic experts re-examined the body, discovering inconsistencies they'd missed in their rush to build a case. The cadaver was eventually identified as Elizabeth Collins, who had died of natural causes 3 days before she was discovered in the forest. The medical school reported the missing body, but the investigation had been minimal, given that no foul play was suspected in her death. David Mendez's conviction was reduced from murder to attempted murder, but the mountain of evidence regarding his abuse and threats toward Sophia kept him behind bars. Andrew faced new charges for his role in the elaborate hoax, ultimately serving another 8 months. During those months alone, I received 3 more anonymous packages. Each contained a postcard from different international locations: Barcelona, Auckland, Bangkok, with a single red fingerprint on the back. Sophia's way of letting us know she was safe and still moving. When Andrew was released the second time, we made another fresh start. Not in a new state, but in our marriage. The secrets were gone, replaced by a shared understanding that nothing was as simple as it seemed. We both knew now what we were capable of when pushed to extremes. Me with my detective work, him with his willingness to break the law to save someone. On our 10th anniversary, we received a final package. Inside was a newspaper clipping about David Mendez's death in prison, an apparent suicide, and a simple note: "Now I'm truly free. So are you. Thank you both. S." We never heard from Sophia again, but sometimes when traveling, I find myself scanning crowds in foreign cities, wondering if I might glimpse a woman with auburn hair living her second chance at life. Andrew and I gradually rebuilt what was broken between us. The vigilance never completely fades. Trauma leaves permanent marks, but it evolves into something different. Not suspicion, but awareness. Not fear, but caution. 15 years later, on our 20th anniversary, Andrew's phone buzzes during dinner. He turns it over without hesitation, and we both read the message from our daughter. "Happy anniversary. Hope you two are having fun. Don't wait up." We smile at each other, and this time the smile reaches our eyes. Some texts change everything, but others simply remind you of how far you've come from that moment when your world stopped spinning across a candlelit table, and you glimpsed the abyss that lies between knowing someone and understanding them. The scariest part? Missing the next story. Hit that sub button before it finds you.